Okay, so in the last session, we were talking about the balance between of love and power. It's not just I have love, but there also should be power. So we were talking about different examples, just like how it could also be said as love and law. We were talking about the example of a parent and the child. It's just not parents just giving that love to the child, but also that discipline, that power, that knowledge aspect. When they have to correct the child, they have to correct the child. When they have to advise the child, they have to advise the child. So, in the same way, this sort of, love and power, we all need this balance of love and law in our lives. And so, one of the symbolism that we were talking about is the Shakti aspect, how in the Eastern tradition they have these beautiful goddesses and they're called Shaktis, and how if you look at their face is filled with this love, this beautiful, cheerful face filled with love. But if you look at their arms, the arms are, holding weapons, which means it's the symbolism of power when they have to use you know, the power to cope with something. They use it, and so there is this balance of love and power. And then we also went through of praise and defamation. So it should not be that, I am too impressed when someone praises me, or I feel so defamed when someone dislikes me. So even that sort of balance I need to create, that in praise and defamation, in both the forms, I have to be equal. I have to be, um, balanced, and that always helps. And it's a very subtle thing, right? I mean, just check yourself. When someone praises you, it's like, somewhere there is a soft corner for them, right? We create a soft corner for that person when someone praises. Oh, this person is actually good because they praise me. But if someone is defaming me, what we do in a very subtle way, some way, we have a certain dislike towards that person. We may not actually express, but somewhere subtly, I don't want to be with that person, or I don't know, there's a slight dislike inside which is growing. And so this praise and defamation aspect is actually a deep aspect which we need to look into. But remember, all these balances that we're talking about, all these spiritual tools, we can say, the spiritual methods, the balances that we need to actually create in our life, um, can only happen when I have the foundation. And that foundation is, if you remember a few sessions ago, we were talking about the foundation is that creating the point of silence, that is meditation. And in the last session, somebody was asking me this question: what is meditation? Like, what sort of thoughts should I hold in my meditation? The first and foremost thing, remember that meditation always means a healing process. Meditation is not just a 2 hour thing and a 1 hour thing. I would see meditation as a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. Every moment you can hold healing thoughts, every moment actually you're healing, every moment you are creating such thoughts, and such feelings and such, um, you know, um, way of lifestyle that it's you're actually reaching towards that positivity, or you're ascending. That's what I can say, that you're ascending at every moment. So it's a lifestyle more than just sitting and doing it. But of course, it begins from taking those moments of silence where you are detaching yourself, you're withdrawing all your thoughts from the rest of the world, from your hustle and bustle of life, going inwards towards the self, the soul, and just being with your own self, looking at your own self and the powers, the virtues that you have, and emerging those powers and virtues. In that silence, you're looking at your own self. In that silence, you're actually able to connect to the higher self, that is God. And so, if this foundation, if I'm lacking, then I cannot actually create any sort of balance in my life. All these balance, aspects that we are learning cannot actually experience without that meditation, without centering myself, without taking those moments of you know silence and meditation in my life. So that's what is the base, the foundation. If that is not, I'm not giving time for that, but I love to listen, I love to spend time to read books, all of that is fine. But if you're not taking time to recognize, realize your own self, to get in touch with that being which you are, from the external sources, um, it's actually not happening. That's why it's called the point of silence, going within. And then, of course, we've learned about connection and correction. So when I have that foundation of meditation, I know how to actually detach. I know how to actually detach from my own strengths and weaknesses, and I can actually see myself. Where is that I'm going wrong? What is my strength? What is my weakness? Where I can correct myself. And not only that, when you have the base of meditation every day in your life, it's actually helping you to to actually become detached observer to your own physical body as well. If your physical body is even going through something, you know, we don't have perfect bodies. Our bodies always go through something. We always have some fixing to this physical body. And so you will experience yourself as that powerful soul who is observing your body, and not being worried or not being panic or getting into anxiety. Oh my gosh, what's happening to me? It's not happening to me. It's my body. My body is experiencing something, but I can detach myself and I can actually correct my feelings, my emotions. And so that sort of power I gain from my meditation practice. So it's very, very important that I learn to have this, going inwards and connecting to the soul, realizing that I'm a soul, connecting to that supreme source where I experience that, power, to correct my emotions, my, you know, whatever is going on inside. And then, of course, we have this discussion also about dharma and karma, how much it is important to actually to follow my principles and not compromise this dharma and karma. Dharma means my inculcation, my dharma, my inculcation has to be equivalent to my karma. It's not that I would just break my principles and do actions. But if I do something like that, then there is no value for those actions. Those actions will somewhere become imperfect actions if I don't follow my dharma, which means, my principles, my set of, spiritual habits, you can say. So even that balance is absolutely important, for a better lifestyle or to become a soul who has, um, you know, an elevated way of living life. And also further, we were talking about this balance aspect and how important it is to have balance is always connected to this intellect. And so when I have that balance, my intellect is called a divine intellect, a sharp intellect, or a wise intellect, or an elevated intellect. So we were talking about anything that is extreme is not good, And if I go into extreme of any habit or any emotion, that can actually completely disturb the soul, and which can be called as a storm. And so also another aspect we discussed was humor and the seriousness. Don't be too serious, don't be too humorous. There has to be a balance of these two as well. Um, and so today we discuss a few more aspects of matter and child, and these aspects we'll be discussing in today's session. And so the first aspect, another balance that we all need in our life is being a master and a child. So the balance of master and child. So being a master means being self-sovereign, being internally powerful, being internally firm, like that ruler inside, thinking wise. So I cannot always be childish, act like a child, you know, in ignorance, in innocence, when we don't behave like master, meaning self-sovereign. So what is self-sovereign? So having my senses in control. So when I don't behave in a way, having my senses in control, what would others say? Why are you behaving childish? Hmm? Where is your sense? Hmm? That's what they say, right? When we don't behave right, they say, what is this? Hmm. So there always has to be this. I should not always be like childlike. There sometimes there, it's important. You know, sometimes I may have to take important decisions in my life. I cannot be like always confused. I don't know what to do. You know, or childlike also means like like what a child does when something happens, cry, right? When something goes wrong, the child will immediately cry. And so being sensitive also, sensitive, the sensitive nature also is not good. Mm. And so being that master is important, that self sovereignty is important, making wise decisions when I have to make, being royal, you know, um, doing the right things at the right time is called a master. Saying right things at the right time, when we don't say right things at the right time, things can go wrong. They'll say, what is this? Don't you know this was not the right time to speak? Right? So I have to be that master, and at the same time, yes, I need to have that childlike innocence too, and a master like sovereignty too. So both in balance are needed. So say for example, there is a situation, or there is at home, you're making some important decisions. And so like a master, like a wise soul, give your thought. This is what I think, you know, this is, would be one of the things that we can do. So be a master and share your thought. But at the same time, again, be a child, have like childlike innocence too. Again, don't fight back that why my decision has not been implemented, or I always give my thought and never it's implemented. You know, so childlike innocence is also needed. Sometimes a child will just ignore something is going on. The child is just busy playing, in his own world. The child wouldn't actually go into too much of business, and so that sort of innocence and purity is also needed. I don't have to poke my nose into everything. Hey, I'm the wise one, let me advise you, let me advise you. That is also not needed. Where I have to speak, there I have to speak. But again, being a child, meaning I have to be in my own game. meaning I have to, play my own part as well, and not become, a master in everyone's life. No. And so that child and a master, this sort of balance is also needed. But you unmuted. Unmuted yourself, I'll have to say. So, yes, making the right decisions, being the ruler, being that self sovereign, that wise soul, but at the same time, on the other hand, being having childlike innocence, childlike purity, when to say what. At the same time, it's not that I go into everyone's life, but I play my part. So, this sort of balance of master and child is essential as well. And so the second balance that I need to learn is yoga and karma, or karma and yoga, which is very, very important. As I was sharing about how meditation or yoga is so important in our life, that's the basis, that's the foundation of the balance. And so being yogi, a constant yogi, is absolutely necessary because today we our karma is overloaded. Look at the system that we have created today in the world, that we all keep ourselves so overloaded with karma, busy, 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 doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. And sometimes we get so engaged in what we are doing that we don't have time for that silence. We don't have time for that spiritual endeavor. We don't have time. You know, we've created such system today that our healths are going bad. Our mental illnesses are getting created. mm, And relationships have no time today. Relationships are getting, disturbed. we're we've no time for each other. There's no time, even now spring, no time to stop and look at the flowers. That store, that poem I remember, I think the nature. mm, Beautiful poem by William Wordsmith, I think. And he said that today man is so busy that we don't have time to stop and look at beautiful spring, the beautiful flowers, or the nature. So, yeah, we have overloaded ourselves with, too many ambitions, too much of running, karma, all the time action oriented. And so, because of being action oriented, we're experiencing so much of damage to ourselves because there is no balance of soul and body. It's all about externally doing things, but internally switching off from the external and switching on the internal for some time and allowing this light to glow inside. That is not happening. Allowing that, that energy to regenerate, or, to keep this soul going, because this yoga and karma have completely become imbalanced today. Our lives are so much in stress. We experience stress, we are experiencing anxiety. We're too much into action, right? It's like, even today, doctors are meant to actually take care of the patients, right? So even doctors are so busy that even when a patient is coming, they think they're attending the patient, but they really don't have much time for the patient. Next, one after the other, one after the other. It's just like so quick, 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 quick. So at some point, everyone is so overloaded with karma. So please, we have to balance this, our karma and yoga. So this, as I'm performing my action, let this yoga of the intellect keep going internally. internally, and such soul is called a karma yogi. So internally, my meditation, meaning my healing thoughts, my peace, my positive thoughts inside, they're continuously going on internally. As I'm externally doing my karma, internally, I'm not losing this spiritual awareness of who I am. What are my virtues? What are my powers? Who I belong to? What is this drama about? This spiritual awareness I'm not losing. And so when I don't lose this spiritual awareness, I'm creating a balance in my karma rather than becoming stressed completely of what's going on out there. I'm actually balancing with my spiritual power this action so that I'm not taking this anxiety, this stress that my actions or the world is actually giving me, my karma is giving me. So bring this balance. It's important. It's important. It's important to give time to yourself. Switch off the things that are going on out there. Switch on your inner light. I, the soul, I, the peace, I, the inner power. And when I do this spiritual practice internally, then it helps me. Say at work, I, I have if I have to handle a project, and I start to get stressful because of the pressures of the project. But then having the spiritual awareness is actually balancing me. I'm keeping my spiritual, with this help of spiritual awareness, I'm lowering this stress that's giving me. And also, say for example, even with your physical body, right? If your physical body is going through something, when you practice this karma and this balance of karma and yoga, your spiritual awareness will help you at the right time to deal with even what your body is going through. Immediately, your awareness, that spiritual awareness, will emerge when you need it. And so, this balance of karma yoga is very, 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 very important. Do your karma, but in between, take your times and have your internal yoga as well. These pure thoughts, let this healing thoughts, the soul, beyond this physical layer of the body, go to the soul, experience your own self, your virtues, your powers, your signs. Another aspect of balance is generous and economical, important aspect. To be have the balance of being generous and at the same time economical. So what is this being generous, and where is that I have to be generous and where is that I have to be economical? Sometimes we actually at wrong times we become economical or generous. That is not right too. So at the right time I have to execute these powers, you can say, or methods. So be economical but generous for meaningful purpose. I remember a few years ago, somebody bought a machinery, and but they didn't, they thought, okay, we'll assemble this machinery. Few more bucks. Why we have to waste? Why we have to call the guy to assemble? Let me do this work by myself. But then so much of stress. Mm, you actually, instead of spending that another 20 bucks or 50 bucks for that assembling, you paid so much for that, machinery, and few more bucks, to call someone to assemble this machinery. No, no, no. I put on my head, and then, too much of stress, too much of tension putting that machinery finally couldn't put. I was like, why are you, when you spend so much wealth on buying that, why couldn't you spend few more pennies compared to what you have bought to assemble that, rather than taking so much of headache. So sometimes it does happen that, when check yourself when you buy some nice, gifts for your family members. You really give time. You really give that, you spend, so that they are satisfied there. But when it comes to yourself, do you do the same thing? Or you become a little economical? No, I'll just manage with this one thing. Do you do that? Hmm? Or are you also generous on yourself? Hmm? So sometimes it happens, right? We're generous to others, but when it comes to our own well being, we're not generous. We compromise. We think this is enough. No, being generous begins from you. I'm not saying, again, it's a balance of economical and generous. It's not that, okay, I'm spending too much, like buying this, buying that, buying. So being generous with yourself also means that giving time for yourself. So we give time for others, but what about my own self? So don't be too economical giving time for yourself, taking care of yourself. We are too generous taking care of others. But when it comes to our own self, our own health, we're not taking care. We're too economical. I don't have time for my own self. So when we talk about this aspect of generous and economical, there are lots of things to talk about this. There are lots of just we're not just talking about wealth aspect here, but care aspect as well, well-being aspect. Mm. So many aspects, time aspect. So be economical, but at the same time, be generous for meaningful purposes. Also means that, being presentable, sometimes don't become too economical about your own self, that you don't even look presentable. So that also shouldn't happen. So you must not be economical in performing an elevated task. So sometimes where you have to be generous, be generous. Maybe you have to accomplish something, an elevated task. Don't be too stingy in that. Sometimes maybe doing something is benefiting myself and others. So give time, give your energy there. And when you do that, lots of blessings. I receive lots of blessings when I'm generous, you know, giving my time, my body, and my wealth, whatever it is, for an elevated purpose. And sometimes, yes, sometimes people have a lot, but they don't know how to use it. Mm. So, a lot that could be time, that could be energy. Use it for the right purpose. Have the generous heart to use it, you know. And as I was just sharing before we were starting the session, whatever we do with a generous heart will never go waste. Remember that. It'll never go waste. You can never say, I did this and what is the result? I didn't I didn't get it back. No, don't look at what the reward, don't look at the return. Just do what you have to do, the right aspects, the right actions. Mm. And plenty, universe will give plenty, our karma will give plenty at the right time. So this sort of being generous and economical also need to be balanced. When I have to do something, don't be too generous in, oh, my friend called, let me actually just keep talking and talking and talking. you know, wasting time. Don't be too generous in wasting time. So use your thoughts, And also another thing, it begins from thoughts. So don't be too generous, wasting your thoughts. Where you have to think, you have to think, right? So be generous and economical in your thoughts. Be generous and economical in your words, what you're speaking, when you're speaking, how much you're speaking. Be generous and economical in your time, and of course, your body, your needs, your well being, and your wealth. Another thing about balance is flexible and firmness. You have to learn when to be flexible, when to be firm. That balance of being flexible and firm, both are needed. And so this is an aspect of like bending without breaking, you know, which means how is that? How will I actually have this stability, this flexibility and also firmness? Is you can only be flexible when you're actually firm inside. Firm meaning stable inside. You have to be grounded. When you are grounded inside, then you're humble, you're flexible externally. So the perfect example of this aspect uh, is a bamboo tree. A bamboo tree is a perfect example of being flexible and firm. You see, a bamboo tree grows so tall, so big, right? A bamboo tree can actually shoot up to 90 feet tall. And it has the power, it has the ability to sway to the storms and not break. A bamboo tree doesn't just break so easily. It's so tall, but at the same time, it has such flexibility that it can sway, to the heavy winds. So why? Why is that externally it's so flexible, but internally a bamboo tree is so strong? So in the same way, a yogi, a one who meditates, one who has that spiritual awareness or spiritual practice is internally he's getting stable inside, internally become grounded. That externally, even if any storms come, I'm swaying to that storm, but I'm not breaking. This should not be opposite, just like how we were talking about generous and economical. It's not internally I am internally I'm flexible and externally I'm firm. No, then I will break, right? Externally, if I'm rigid and internally I'm too soft, I'll break. But it's the opposite. The soul has to be so grounded inside. My feelings, my powers, internally the soul has to be so powerful, so grounded. And so when I'm internally like that, my expression externally is I'm humble, I'm flexible. I have a focus inside, but I have a flow outside, right? And so this sort of practice is absolutely necessary as well. Mm. Internally, be very strong that no storm can just, you know, shake you. No, nothing can shake me. But externally, I'm humble. I have that humility. So where I need to be firm, I need to be firm there. Where I need to be flexible, I need to be flexible. So sometimes for silly things, we become rigid. Where we have to like, oh, it's okay. This is the way. It's okay. Move on. No, there for little things we catch hold of. things and we sit with strong-headed nature. Mm. And I want to break that. I don't leave it until, I break it. And where I need to be actually firm about things, I'm loose about it. So one of the examples is also like firmness in your principles. Don't take it light. Be firm. If you have to do something, do it. Be firm about it. Be firm in your spiritual practice. Don't be flexible. It's okay. It's okay. Whenever I get time, I'll do it. No. Be firm and be flexible when it comes to your ego. Don't act with ego. When you act with ego, then there is argument, then you break relationships. Right? So this balance of flexibility and firmness. So bend without breaking, but don't bend too much that you will break. So it's a balance, flexibility and firmness. So another balance is being carefree and responsible. So just before we go into this, now that last, yes. So just let's take just a minute of silence. Just step back into that silence and just reflect instead of just listening. Just take a moment and reflect what you have listened until now, that balance. So take a moment of deep silence and create that balance within yourself. Just take 1 minute of deep silence. Okay, thank you. And proceeding further. Another aspect of balance is carefree and responsible. So again, where I have to be carefree, and that balance of both responsible. So where this is a very important aspect, right? Because sometimes we become too responsible. When do we become too responsible? When we have the consciousness of everything is mine. my children, my family, my work, my this. I have to do this. I'm doing this. I'm doing. So when I have this consciousness of I am doing, this is mine and I need to take care of it, I am doing, then what is happening? I'm actually creating a lot of stress. I feel responsible for everything. I become burdened. I experience heaviness. So to experience, you know, to transform this, to create this balance of being carefree and responsible, it's very important to have the consciousness of nothing is mine. Transform this consciousness of mine into yours. Everything is his. Everything is given by the universe. Nothing belongs to me. Nothing is mine. Well, many times what happens, we overload ourselves, we burden ourselves, we create this, we get stuck with this consciousness of mine, mine, mine. And that mind consciousness makes us, responsible for everything. And so that's creating actually a bondage for the soul, right? So when there is a bondage, what happens? When there is heaviness, I'm always tired, wilted, there is no happiness. I feel overloaded. And so it's like, I'm like a donkey overloaded, putting everything on my head. I have to do this. I have to do this. And also another thing that makes me carefree. So when I transform mine into everything yours, meaning it's God's given, you can think it's universe, given. So when I have this consciousness, then I'm actually balancing my responsibilities, being carefree, because it's not mine, it's given. I've acquired it. I've acquired everything in life. I, the soul, I've acquired my relationships, my possessions, my position, everything I've acquired. I don't own it. It's not mine. So when I have this consciousness, then I'm carefree because I'm a trustee. Because I've acquired, I'm a trustee, I'm taking care of them. They're not mine. And also another aspect is like whatever happens is good. Whatever is happening is good, and whatever is going to happen is also good. This consciousness also helps me to balance being carefree and responsible. So if something happened, right? So at that moment, I may not be seeing the benefit. But sometimes what happens is we feel responsible for everything and we take burden of it. But when I take it easy, when I feel this is a drama, it's going on, and that's true. It's okay, it's happening. Whatever is happening, it's happening for good. Then I know how to be carefree rather than feeling tensed. So be responsible, and first responsibility is your own well-being. Okay, if I don't feel responsible about my own well-being, then I cannot be carefree. If I'm not carefree, then I cannot take care of anyone. So if I feel I'm responsible for something or someone, then I'm just feeling burden, nothing else. And there is no productivity, there is no, elevated performance in it. Right? Even at work, if I feel I'm responsible for this, I'm responsible, you just overload yourself. You feel stressed about it. But yes, I'm doing it. I'm responsible, but at the same time, I'm trusty too. I do it with care. I'm not saying, I'm leaving it. No, it's not. I mean, Act sensibly, right? At work, say for example, I have things, yes, I need to meet, deadlines and all of that. I would work with that dedication. um, but I wouldn't like be so attached about the results, about the things, about this is my task, and if someone touches it, I would get upset and this and that, all kinds of things. Right. So carefree and responsible, these two powerful awarenesses. The most important thing is transforming mine into yours. It's yours. You've given it, I'm taking care of it. So be carefree, at the same time responsible. So don't be carefree in something that you have, where you have to be responsible. That is not good again. The next aspect of balance is holding on and letting go. Very important. One more is there, yeah. So holding on and letting go. So again, what I need to hold on to, I have to hold on to. What I need to let go, I have to let go. So what you want to hold on to in your life? Hold on to good things. Hold on to your strengths. Hold on to your powers. Hold on to wonderful memories. Hold on to your inner strength. Don't let it go. Hold on to your faith. Right? But what you need to let go of the waste, let go of the burdens, let go of those attachments that we are holding too tight. Or many times we do opposite. We hold on to people and things so tight. We don't know how to let them go. I mean, how to free ourselves. There is a beautiful saying in Hindi, it's called Chodo to Chute. If I actually let go, it'll go. If I'm holding on to something so tight and then I'm complaining what to do, I have this, what to do, I can't get rid of this, what to do, this, that. If I'm the one holding it and I'm the one complaining about it, but if I let go, it'll go. I'm the one holding on to it. I'm the one holding on to my old belief systems. I'm the one holding on to my old sanskars, my old habits. And then I keep saying, oh, what to do? I can't do this. It's sitting with me. That's not sitting. I'm holding on to it. So even when it comes to relationship, hold on to love, but not attachments. Let go of the attachment, but hold on to love. And love makes it build. Love makes it more strong and strengthened, but not attachment. Attachment allows it, makes it break. And so when the act of letting go is powerful, and when I let go, I fly. So today, as you're listening to this session, it's not that we listen and then after that, I'm done again, I'm ready for the next session. No, as I'm listening to this now, this whole week, practice some of these balance aspects. Check whether my karma and yoga is going together, whether I'm holding on and letting go. Is this balance? Or I'm too much holding on to something and I'm not letting go. Sometimes it happens with parents and children. Sometimes parents are holding on, and then they feel sorrow about when the children want to go their way. So there's so many aspects about this holding and letting go. So what is that I'm holding? What is that I need to let go? And something that is bothering me and it brings my energy down, it puts me to sadness and tension, I need to let go. So check inside what is that makes your energy go down. into descending, not ascending. The things that bring you down, let it go. Don't hold on. Those emotions, those grudges, or those dislikes, let go. Those attachments, hold on to your power, yourself, your dignity, your virtues. That's powerful. So, our last and most powerful balance is sadhan and sadhana. I think we've discussed this in one of the sessions before. So sadhan means facility, sadhana is detachment. And so we all have our facilities, but in our experiencing our facilities, experiencing our comforts, we should not never forget to do our spiritual endeavor. Life for reasons gives us facilities, but having wealth, having good health, having comforts is not just life. Life also means that some spiritual endeavor is absolutely necessary. And whatever facilities I have, I use those facilities in the right way so that I experience that inner growth. Whatever facilities I have, whatever treasures that I received in my life, it could be my treasure of thoughts. Use it for the right cause. Use your thoughts in a worthwhile way so that you bring your own inner growth. If you have any skills in your life, use those skills in a worthwhile way so that you receive blessings. If you have time, use your time in a worthwhile way so that you create good karma. Say you have good comforts. Whilst using those comforts, you can always use those comforts. Say, for example, see you have, we're all communicating with this gadget. This is a facility, right? This laptop, the Zoom. So we are using these facilities for the right cause, for all of us to connect, to have this spiritual growth together. And so, whatever facilities you have, use it for the right method so that there is inner growth, there is growth in life. And so facilities and spiritual endeavor, and the spiritual endeavor, let it be constant. Let the spiritual endeavor be constant. Not one day I did and 10 days I didn't do, or I do at my own convenience. No, every single day I need to do. If this consistent spiritual endeavor isn't there, then this whole balance aspect is nothing. So we all go back to that point of balance. That is my spiritual endeavor. My sadhana is very, very important to create any sort of balance in my life. So, will you take these points? Will you take these points to check yourself, to practice? So, note down what is that you want to create that balance. What is that focus you want to give yourself this week? Either sadhana and sadhana, holding on and letting go, or carefree and responsible. What is that balance you want to focus in your, for this week? Or being flexible and firm, or generous and economical, yoga and karma, master and a child. Of course, everything is interlinked again. If I create one balance, then automatically other balances will come, will happen. Right? They're interlinked. Om Shanti. Anybody has any thoughts before we close the session? Anything you would like to share? Anything that you're taking with you?
Dan,
Yes.
halo, Mbak Dan ya.
Mhm.
So a yogi, how do you balance being a yogi who focuses on one, a yogi focuses on one with this aspect of balancing, two things.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm trying to get at?
I'm trying to understand. Yes. And so you mean the yogi means who actually remembers just one? That's what you mean? Unmute yourself. You muted yourself when you're talking. Unmute, unmute.
Yeah. He focuses on one,
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. You
but
see,
then there's this logic balance that um, you know.
right. You see, when you focus on one, meaning also it's more easy to create balance actually, because the whole balance aspect is actually standing on one point. You know, if I have that balance point of balance, then whatever is going on around me, I can balance easily. I need to figure that one point of balance, and that one point of balance is my internal connection, my yoga. My yoga is that point of balance. And when that point of balance actually clicks, everything falls into place. And so that's why yoga or my spiritual endeavor or spiritual awareness is so important. And so in my yoga or meditation, whatever you call the names, you actually go inwards, you're connecting to the self, and you're connecting to one. And so when that one point, when that one source is in your life, everything actually falls into place. You have the strength to actually move on with anything. Anything else? What a beautiful comment in the chat box. So, liked all the aspects, especially being firm inside leads to flexibility outside, and that focusing on even one balance allows me to experience other balances. Thank you for that beautiful chat note. Okay, anyone wants to share anything? Okay, so thank you all for being this evening.